Okay, today we're going to show you how to make a casting mold and actually pour it full of molten aluminum. First thing we have to do before we start is to turn up the furnace because the metal is at idling temperature. So we're going to turn up the furnace to 1350 degrees Fahrenheit. And give it the full power. So while we're working, that will be heating up. Okay, this is called a snap flask. This is the box that you'll pack full of sand. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure the latches on the corners are closed, and then we'll take the box apart. The top half is called the cope, the bottom half is called the drag. And it's important to make sure that the walls of the flask are somewhat clean. So we'll just take a little wire brush here and just get the worst of the sand out of there. It doesn't have to be spotless. And then you can take your air hose and the little depressions in the sidewall of the box are what the sand grips so the sand doesn't fall out when you pack it in the box. Okay, then we'll clean the drag half off a little bit. Again, just get the worst of it. You don't have to make it spotless. Okay, here's our pattern. You shouldn't have to pick a pattern. We'll have a pattern out here for you already. But one thing that's important to note about the patterns, most of the patterns have a sprue well. Okay? That will be at the bottom of the passage that the metal flows into. The sprue well, if there is one on the pattern, always goes down. Okay, so we're going to also, you put the vibrator on the left side because that's the same side as the lever that runs it. So you don't get confused which lever to hit. The pattern should go on easily. Should basically glide right on. If you have to force it on, it's going to be very hard to get off. Okay, so then I'm going to take the air and just blow off. Now, one thing about this pattern, these are risers. They aren't painted. They really need to be painted, but we haven't painted these yet. And they get sand and oil out of the sand adhering to them. So I'm taking the parting powder bag and just kind of using it like a rag and wiping off any excess oil and sand. Then I'll just blow it off again. Okay, now we can put the cope half on. And you'll notice there's a round pin and a hex-shaped pin. And the brackets are round and oblong. You have to line up the right bracket with the right pin so that it'll go together. Okay. Now you flip the whole thing upside down because you want to start with the bottom half, then fill the top half. Otherwise you have to flip it twice. And if you look at the flask, you'll notice the flask is tapered. The narrow part is the top. And it even has a C for cope and D for drag. So flip it upside down. Then I'm going to jack up one side a little bit and blow out. And if you pick it up the edge, the sand will blow right out. Okay? I'm also going to wipe this side off a little bit with the parting powder bag. You don't have to do this every time, but now and then when you start noticing that the pattern is getting a little on the black side, you can do this and it'll help your sand to release from the pattern. Okay, then we're going to take our parting powder bag. Notice it's porous. And you just shake a light film, just a dusting of powder onto your pattern. Just a light dusting.